Let's talk about some goals for 2024. Now, this is on page 4 and 5 of the worksheet. 4 and 5 of the workbook. There's also an interactive version if you want to mess around with that at bit.ly/YIMP worksheet. So this is a worksheet, Google sheet that you can actually play with. And I'll try to pull it up here. If I can switch my screen, I'll try my best to do this. When it comes to setting goals, a lot of people set goals with just a revenue number, right? We just want to hit, 2 million this year. Well, that's fine. Break it down into monthly. So divide that number by 12, figure out what your average transaction value is, and then you'll know how many leads you need in order to hit those numbers as the months go on, right? So that's one way to do it. That's the way that sheet works. The other way to do this is talk about installs. So how many installs do you need to do per month in order to hit your goal? So again, if you know your average job, what your average job is worth, let's say it's $3,500, and you want to hit, a million, that means you need to do, what is that? That's 25 something lead or installs per month in order to hit that number. So the other thing you need to know is cost per lead. So this is a tough one. A lot of people don't know what they're spending to get somebody to raise their hand for you. Whether that was pay-per-click, SEO, you billboard up on the side of the highway, all of these different things. You have to be able to track that cost per lead down to, okay, on pay-per-click, we spent $100 to get a lead. For every $100 we spent, we got a lead, right? That's not horrible. Average for pay-per-click for our industry is $160 to $210 per lead. So if you're spending $100 per lead on pay-per-click, you're not doing horrible. You're better than the average, industry average. And then conversion rate is the other piece of this. When somebody does raise their hand, how often do you convert them into a sold deal? Is that 25% of the time? Is that 90% of the time? What is that number? So you can actually plug those numbers into this worksheet. On that first screen, installs per month, when you put that number in, it'll multiply it by 12 to get your installs per year. And then you have to put in your average customer value. If that number is 3,000 average every time you do an install, whatever that number is, that will show your added revenue. So let me see if I can jump over there and try this myself. No. Oh, yep. Here we go. Right. Let me see if you guys can see that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So on this sheet, first thing you need to do is in the top left, go to File and then make a copy. That will create a copy on your own Google account that you can edit, right? So you'll be able to edit this on your account. You'll be able to come back and reference it later, those kinds of things. So first thing to do is put in your 2023 numbers, if you know those. Plug those numbers in. On average, we did, 5 installs a month. That means we did 60 a year. Average customer value, $3,500, means that we made $210,000 in revenue. Now, once you put those numbers in for 2023, obviously that will give you a better understanding of what you want to do for 2024. Well, if we did 5 installs in 23, we'd love to do 10 in 2024, right? So basically doubling our income. We've also raised prices, so our average job is now $37.50, meaning that our added revenue is going to be obviously more, right? So that's the first piece of this. It really gives you a good idea to the right of what you probably need to be spending per month on marketing ad budget to hit those numbers. So that's the first part. Any questions? Put it in the chat if you have any questions about this. I got to move this paper here. So once you have this kind of in place, in the bottom left/center, you'll see a second tab down there called Key Goals and Revenue Targets. So this is all you have to fill in here is these first 4 lines that are in blue. And you can reference the other tab here to see what numbers you want for 2024. So I said 10 installs at $37.50 a month. So I'm going to, oh, this is a year. So that's 120 installs. Cost per lead, if you don't know your cost per lead, like I said, the average for the window treatment industry is $160 to $210. Now that's pretty high, right? That's fantastic to be able to get a $3,500 job for $160. But if you could even drive that number down by optimizing your ads, those kinds of things, you know, pick whatever you think is a good cost per lead. Also something that is attainable, right? If you're not really good with getting things done, or you don't have time, like Larry said earlier, we just don't have the time to focus on this, you're probably going to be stuck at that $160, $200 a month or a lead range. I'm going to put 150 in here just as an example so you guys can see what's happening. So, all right, next is close rate. How often do you close jobs when somebody calls? So do you close 9 out of 10? Do you close 3 out of 10? Whatever that number is, I'm just going to leave this at 55%. I close just over half of the people that call me from all different sources. So this could be source from chat widget, from somebody calling, from somebody filling out the form on the site, from somebody seeing the van and stopping and talking to me, whatever that happens to be. Put in that close rate. And then of course your average revenue per job, I think I said $37.50. Now, so with that, once you have those 4 numbers in there, you can scroll down a little bit here and start to see what is your required lead flow. So in this case, we need, I got to look at the other screen here, 218 leads for the year. If I'm going to close at a 55% close rate, that means I need 218 leads in order to hit my goal of 120 installs. That means monthly, I need 18. So you can kind of see that, what that number is, and then what is going to be my total cost for acquiring those leads. Below that, it shows your average marketing investment. Scroll that down a little bit there. So $2,700, meaning I need to put an annual budget of around 32 grand in order to hit these numbers. And that if I'm going to spend 1,500 on an SEO company like us, then we need to total investment of $4,200 a month if we want to hit that goal with these numbers that I put up above. So now you can go up and say, well, actually, I can probably close more like 70%, right? So now you'll see that the average, the amount of leads that I need per month went down because I'm closing more of them, which is awesome. Your monthly numbers go down on what you need to spend in order to hit those numbers. And then you'll see here at the end, new revenue added. And then I think I've got projected months to pure profit. And if you want to be a little bit more conservative, how long it would take before you actually hit that number down below. And that's again in months. So 2.5 months with putting these numbers into place, I should be able to hit goals that I sent up above. So that's kind of how this worksheet works. Make sure that you do file, make a copy, and then you can play around with the numbers. And you can go back and plug in your numbers from the last couple of years and really see how your business is growing as time goes on. Gives you a good solid goal of what to do in the next year. So, all right, let me switch back over here. All right, I'll go past some of this. So we just went through all this. So, all right, back to the workbook. This is where you can actually put in the workbook. If you want to put it in the chat, that would be awesome as well. What is the goal for this year? Is it a certain number of installs? Is it a revenue number? Is it both? kind of a mixture of those. Put that number into your workbook so you have a good idea of what you're hoping to hit by the end of next year. And you'll be able to pull this out and look at this as time goes on. It says, here's our goal. Here are the things that we need to do in order to accomplish that.